Hey everyone! So in today's video we are going to be doing some Ostara activities, starting with baking some hot cross buns. Everything is already pre-measured, but first I'm combining the flour with the sugar, yeast, cinnamon, allspice, and salt. In the recipe I'm using, it said to use the bread hook to mix these dry ingredients together, but honestly I would have just used a spoon and a spatula and combined it a lot better than the bread hook did. So in the end I just ended up mixing it with my hand, and then we're going to add the wet ingredients. I will post the recipe as well in the comments below and in the description box. So now we're going to add the melted butter that has cooled down a little bit so it's not boiling hot, as well as some warm milk. And it's important that it's warm because that is what activates the yeast that we added with the dry ingredients. And then we're going to add 1 room temperature egg. So now we're going to mix that on speed 2 with the bread hook for about 5 minutes. If you're kneading by hand, do it for about 10 minutes with non-stop kneading. Also, keep your eggshell that we used for the egg in this recipe so that we can use it later on in the video. So after 5 minutes, we're going to take our bread dough away from the sides and off the bread hook. You can use a little bit extra flour if you want to get it from the bottom from sticking. And then we're going to cover it with saran wrap so it can rise. And we're going to place it in a warm place without a breeze. So I actually preheated my oven for a few minutes and turned it off. So now that my oven's warm, I'm going to place the bowl in there so it can rise for about 30 minutes. If it's not rising in a warm spot, it can take up to an hour and a half. Once your dough has risen, we're going to flour a work surface, take it out of the bowl, punch it first so that it gets all the air bubbles out, and then we're going to roll it into a log. We're rolling the dough out so that we can cut it into even sections so we can have little balls of pretty much even dough. If you want to be really particular about it, you can weigh the pieces. I didn't, and I ended up with different sized dough balls, but it ended up working in the end. And we're going to take each dough ball and create little money bags, you would call it, so pinching all of the ends into the bottom and then smoothing out the balls, and then we're going to put that on a parchment lined baking sheet. Once those are all on the baking sheet, we're going to cover it with that plastic wrap one more time and place it in a warm spot to rise for about 45 minutes to an hour. While that's rising, we're going to make the flour paste to go on top to create the X's, which is just half a cup of flour and 5 tablespoons of water, and then you mix it together, and then you can pipe those X's on top. After the final rise is done, you're going to want to put that flour paste into a piping bag, or here I just use a Ziploc bag and cut the tip off, and then you're just going to want to slowly pipe an X onto the buns. Once the X's are done, you're going to want to place that in a preheated oven at 350 for 22 minutes. And here's how they turned out, which they look really awesome for the first time making them. And yeah, they turned out really good. I'm really proud of them, and they were really tasty to eat when they were warm with just some butter, or you can put jam on it, or any marmalade. Now let's make an eggshell candle. So we're going to use the eggshell that we used from baking the hot cross buns from earlier. And you've seen how I just kind of teared away the sides. So all we're going to need is a wick and some wax. So I placed my eggshell in a bowl of salt just to keep it in place and safe, but you can use anything that will keep it up and sturdy. And then I just placed a wick inside the bottom with a little wick sticker, but honestly I don't think it did much because of the curve of the egg, so you can just stick a wick in there, and then we're going to melt down some wax. You can add any fragrance oils or additives to the wax. I just left it how it was, and once hot, I slowly poured it into the egg. Man, that was nerve-wracking. I filled it just almost to the top, and then I sprinkled some lavender buds onto the top of it, and yeah, it turned out really cute. I'm glad I didn't actually break the eggshell for once. And here is the finished product when the wax solidified, and I'm probably actually going to make some more of these because I really like them. So let's decorate some wooden eggs. Here I'm wood burning them, but you can use any sort of paint or markers or any way to decorate any wooden, plastic, paper mache, any type of eggs you can get a hold of, even real eggs. And I showed you guys just right there a clip of different sigils I made, so you can either screenshot the video or just make up your own. And yeah, I'm gonna wood burn those symbols and sigils onto them. I don't know why I did so many spirals and circles, because it's actually really hard to wood burn that onto an egg surface. And here are 4 of the finished products with their sigils that I wood burned onto them. And I'm going to show you guys the sigils again, just a little bit slower this time. So if you want, you can screenshot the video and use the ones that I made, or you can make your own. So let's plant some seeds. All you're going to need is some containers, some seeds, and some dirt. And I'm planting some moonflower seeds. So we're just going to fill this up with some dirt, plant the seeds according to the package, and yeah, we'll put them in my greenhouse inside when I'm done. And I actually decided here to germinate some of the seeds in water overnight to do the rest of the moonflower seeds, just to see if it makes a difference, and I'll let you guys know if it does. But I've done both seeds germinated in water and out of water, and they both work just fine. But yeah, we'll just experiment for this one. And I'm going to use some popsicle sticks just to write the names, because if you don't do that, you will 100% forget what you planted. So I placed that in my little greenhouse, sprayed it with some water, and yeah, we're going to let that sit in there until the spring, just to grow. And as you can see, I did a lot of seeds, but I didn't want to film all of those. And lastly is more of a personal one, but it's just spending time in nature and looking for signs of spring. So I actually went into my backyard, which is very overgrown, messy. It needs to be tended once it gets warm out. But yeah, I just looked at my lilac tree right here and checked for the buds to be out, and I checked for buds on some of the trees. And yeah, I just was looking for signs of life. So if you live in a warmer area, you might even find some flowers or see some animals. And I also checked the trees because at this time of year I like to find the robin's nests, because we have so many pine trees. There's always almost a nest in every single tree. Sadly, I didn't find any, but they will definitely be coming very soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Ostara's activity video. Here is the final products of everything. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you end up doing anything, make sure you tag me on Instagram or comment below and let me know. Blessed be witches.